Well, health experts say the average age of heroin addicts is rapidly changing throughout Arizona. Not only has heroin become a drug of choice in middle-class and affluent areas, but as Hannah Lawrence of the Investigative Unit reports, it's also being used by kids at ages you wouldn't expect.
Are Arizona high school students using heroin? Experts like Shane Watson say yes.
I've had students as young as 7th grade come up to me and tell me after my presentation that they're struggling.
According to a survey done by the Department of Education every 2 years, the percentage of high school freshmen that admit to using heroin at least once has risen from 2.4% in 2003 to 6.9% in 2013. On the other hand, high school seniors admitting to using heroin has fallen from 3.8% to 2.6% in the same time period. Watson, who works with high schoolers, say they often don't have the cognitive skills to make important decisions.
When we're talking about teenagers, we're talking about people whose brains haven't finished developing. They're still very impulsive, they're very emotionally driven.
The Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration reports that the number of first-time heroin users between the ages of 12 and 17 have increased by 80% since 2002.
That's frightening that it's increased 80%.
But the director of school safety and prevention at the State Department of Education says the shift in students who say they use heroin is too small to be considered a troubling trend.
Really, from the data and from the analysis, there is no significant change, so there is virtually no change.
Behavioral therapist DJ Diebold says he's seeing a 16-year-old recovering heroin addict right now. Arizona schools are still required by law to teach drug and alcohol abuse prevention, but he says it's important to get schools to admit there's a problem.
Their denial is so pervasive. They don't know how to handle this situation, and they don't want to be associated with a drug or alcohol problem.
Yeah, and this story is just one of many that we're following involving heroin use across the state. I'm here with Tess Homan in the Public Insight Network Bureau, which helps us gather personal stories across the state that help tell our stories. Tess will be involved in our continuing coverage. Tess?
So if you have any connection with heroin, maybe you're a teacher seeing it in your school, maybe you're a student, a parent, or you're just seeing it in your neighborhood, we want to hear your story.
And how should people submit their stories?
You can go to cronkitenewsonline.com and click on today's heroin story, and there'll be a form on there that you can fill out.
And what are you going to do with that information that you get?
We understand this is a very sensitive subject, so we won't share anything you share with us without your permission. But sharing your story will help us know what to cover and how this issue is affecting Arizona communities.
Thank you, Tess. Live in the Pin Bureau, Hannah Lawrence, Cronkite News.